And we are live again with one of our amazing episodes of Agents in the Trenches. This is becoming such a powerful space and place. And so many people are excited to watch, and so many people are reaching out and just thanking us for bringing such authentic and organic information, which has to do with the real, the raw, the good, the bad, and the ugly of real estate. And today we're going to have a very interesting conversation with a very, very innovative platform of something that a lot of us know about, but maybe in this upcoming year, we need to get more involved with. And I've had the honor and privilege to be working closely with our guest in Agents in the Trenches today. And so we're going to ask a lot of good information. And as you're watching, we're going to ask you, as always, to drop a hashtag live if you're watching live, or a hashtag replay if you're watching on replay. And this is on 3 different platforms, on Facebook, YouTube, etc. And we're going to have a nice conversation today. But as always, I like to bring in my running partner and my running partner, my accomplice in this that we're doing, right? That started back in April with a crazy idea of, hey, we've got to become the messenger with the right message, be the voice of what's happening out there, and just build this conversation so that we can bring value to our market and also to our agent population. So here we have the one and only Miss Talia Miranda.
Yes, how is everybody? I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, I mean, I loved seeing how this has evolved, right? Because it started off as a conversation with just you and me, and
Mhm.
then we started to bring people on, right? To
Yes.
their perspective on the market and their experiences and what they're doing to just like thrive in today's market. So it's been really exciting. I love what we're doing, and I see that it's been super valuable to our audience. So I just can't wait to see where this leads us.
Well, today we have an amazing guest. I love the fact that you get to meet people in the industry and you just don't know where those relationships are going to go, right? So one of the things that I had set out to do for this year was to get out there, look for the people, talk to the people, be a frontline leader, build community, which you and I both know I've been working on for the last 2 years
That's
through my events and my initiatives of building community, because I really believe that we are in a time where our net worth is based on our network. And the more people we know, the more we can be a resource and we can be of value to other people. So tell us who we're bringing on today, because I really want to have this great conversation with this fine human that I just always enjoy, seeing and just growing with little by little every time we connect and get together.
Yes, so without further ado, let's bring on Milton Bernal with New Western. How are you?
Hi, ladies. I'm doing great, and I feel honored to be on your show today.
Oh my goodness. We are so happy that you accepted the invitation, Milton, because I think a lot of people here in Southwest Florida need to get to know you. I don't know why. I just, ever since I met you, and I know our initial conversation was a little bit um, un what would you call it? Like one of those conversations that is a little bit unorthodox, right? It's like, wait, hold on. What do you mean? What are you talking about? And I said to you, listen, when you get to know me, you're going to see I'm the real deal, right? Because there's so many brokers out there. There's so many people that do what I do, just like yourself. But there's something that you are doing with your company that's different. And that's where I think we both connect so well, because I don't just want to be another broker. I don't just want to be another real estate instructor. I don't just want to be another business person in the real estate arena. I want to come from a different angle that's more valuable. So take it away. Tell us all about yourself, and who is Milton? Who is your company, and why you guys are so different?
All right, excellent. Well, a little bit about me. I am born and raised in Cuba. Um, Basically, came to the United States about probably back in 2011. So I spoke no English. I went to a couple of year high school here, and then I went to college. And just along the process, I always knew I wanted to be in business and I wanted to do business with people. Always been a little bit of an extrovert. So coming from the bartending and service industry, I started meeting some people, and then that kind of led me into real estate. So as I started to basically get into real estate, and I figured out that's what I wanted to do. I went and got my degree in finance with a concentration in real estate. While I was going to college, I became a mortgage broker, licensed mortgage originator per se. I got my real estate license as well. I just knew that this was my industry. This is how I wanted to build my wealth and help other people do the same. And yeah, so I just had a lot of book experiences, but not truly life experiences yet. And right about as I'm about to graduate in 2020, I come across New Western. So basically, New Western is a licensed brokerage. Basically, by now we're in 23 different states, over 50 different locations, and all they focus on is on investment properties. So basically, New Western is a marketplace for investors to find properties to fix and flip, rent, or even lots to build. And to me, that was fascinating. I personally didn't want to focus on the traditional real estate market. I wanted to be embedded into the numbers games, into where the money was at, into how people were building wealth with multifamilies and flipping properties, because it's always been a goal of mine. So basically joined the company in 2020. Lenders were not lending, buyers were not buying. The world is in lockdown, and I had just graduated. I had no idea how I was going to push through, but I knew I was determined. And yeah, the company gave me a great training system. And I mean, it's a company that sells a property on average every 13 minutes that passes. So they do a lot of volume. I come from the Tampa Bay market. We were doing about 60 closings consistently. And I basically decided to launch, 3 years with the company. I decided to open an office here in Southwest Florida. That the only Florida office that we had was back in Tampa Bay. So we expanded to Fort Myers, Orlando, Jacksonville, and right before the hurricane, that's when I opened shop. And it's a lot of ups and downs, but truly fantastic journey so far.
Wow, Milton. So I can't believe that you came to the US in 2011. That was like the other day. And you knew no English?
That is correct. I had some courses, and where's the library and how do you do? My name is Milton. I just knew the basics. So when I got here, that's truly when I had to learn.
There's something that you said that I really enjoyed, and it's that you said that you are an extrovert, right? And I like that, because that tells me that you know a little bit about yourself, right? We always think we know ourselves, and then little by little we continue to discover more about ourselves. Let me ask you the $1 million question. New Western does something just like, in real estate, there's a lot of brokers and there's a lot of realtors and there's a lot of team leaders, but then there are those that set themselves apart. Tell me a little bit about why New Western is different, because you guys work in wholesale, but you always tell us, but we're different. What makes you different?
So basically, as a licensed brokerage that we are, New Western, we don't represent buyers. We don't list properties on the market. In fact, 80% of our inventory is off market. So basically, the way we're different, again, even as a realtor that does no representations, that doesn't list on the MLS, I'm like, that's kind of strange. So people ask me if I'm a wholesaler. Well, technically, wholesalers are smaller operations, typically a mom and pop or someone, just an entrepreneur, maybe with an acquisitions team, and that's all they do. They assign properties, which we don't. So we actually close on all of the properties that we receive. We have marketing team, we have finance team, and again, we are in just about most of the big metros in the entire United States region. So I think what makes us different is that as a brokerage and as a marketplace that we offer lending to the investors that we work with, which, by the way, is a privileged and confidential network of investors that work with us. And we provide relevant information about all of the properties we work with. Tons of research, tons of groundwork. And that's about the only thing we do for the last 15 years that we've been in business. We buy and sell investment real estate. So when you truly have a niche and when you truly have a focus, that's what allows you to just separate yourself from everybody that is trying to be in every little piece of the pie. No, we have done one thing and one thing only for the last 15 years.
I love it. I know Dalia has a couple of questions as well that we're going to dive a little deeper on, who is the leader in Southwest Florida, because that would be you, right? And they say that the leader determines the speed of the pack, right? So the speed of the pack is determined by the leader. And I get a feeling that, like me, you are someone that likes to go fast and furious. Right? Because there's no other way to do it. I mean, if you're going to lead from the front, you might as well go fast and furious. So, Dalia, let's dive into some of those fun questions that we have for our guests today.
Yeah, so something that you mentioned, you said that you opened up your operation right before the hurricane, right? Which I'm sure was a huge, maybe a setback or maybe not, I don't know. But my question to you would be, how did you adapt to that? Because I'm sure while most people kind of like, went away or like, started to like back off a little bit because of that tragedy, what did you guys do to be able to, adapt to that change?
Well, basically taking the company's experience, taking it back to 2008. I mean, that was a truly controversial time to start a company. There's a lot of foreclosures happening, a lot of bankruptcies. Well, I think we all know the story. And the company thrived since then. Then I joined the company in 2020, another huge global impact. And the company only quadrupled in size. So I knew that I was confident. I had the confidence that despite the challenges of a hurricane, in the midst of an already shifting market, we already know in 2022 how many times the interest rates went up, how crazy inflation was. And then on top of that, we have a hurricane. But I knew that I was part of a team that thrives on adversity, right? So, I mean, it was definitely a time to adapt. And it was definitely a time to move fast, break things, and lead from the front, like Lucy says. And I mean, what we have found is, well, for a month or two, I think 35, 45 days, all we could really do was just help people. All we could do was just volunteer and help people that were in distress, just helping them, through the process. And then along the way, you start seeing sellers that had no insurance on their properties. You start seeing other people that had insurance and decided to cash out, and then just move on. They didn't want to know. They didn't have the will or the resources to basically renovate the properties. FEMA government programs were making it really hard for investors and builders to rebuild. The owners and the sellers didn't have the opportunities or the resources to do this themselves. So truly, who was responsible for rebuilding Southwest Florida is the entrepreneurs. It's the people that are actually local, that are doing the work, that are lifting the hammer, and they just needed a company that was able to put these sellers and these buyers together, basically, to establish the market that we take pride on. So that's basically how we overcame the tough times. At the end of the day, we do deal with distressed properties and investors that look for this type of properties to rebuild. And so it was a half full glass type of guy, and that's how we kept them pushing forward and built a business around it.
So I have a quick question. So there's people watching here. I'm going to encourage everybody that's watching, share this live. We are here with Milton Bernal, who is now you're a broker.
That is
you
correct.
are now a broker. So what's your new title? What should we say your new title is?
I am the broker associate for New Western here in Fort Myers, but I am also the general manager, as we are a big corporation as well.
Ooh. So you're like the American dream come true.
Something like that, yes. It's so relative, but it truly is my American dream. This country and this company have allowed me to grow and to do as much as I've been able to envision for myself.
Wow. So my question is this, and I'm going to have Dalia share some of when people put questions or comments or whatever on the actual screen here so that our viewers can also see them. But in the meantime, I will ask you, so For the people that are watching now or later, tell us, what is the advantage of working with Milton Bernal, his team at New Western? What is the advantage of doing that for us as real estate agents, team leaders, and brokers?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And the good thing about working with us is, I mean, we already know demand on the buyer side it's down a little bit due to these rates, which again we have been seeing the news and forecast that rates are expected to drop. So we do expect the demand to go up. But one thing to keep in mind as realtors and brokers in the industry, especially locally as well, it's good to think that if you normally would have passed on a property because, well, maybe you're making it 3% and you have to work with an investor that you know they want to offer the least amount of money possible. And again, these price points on these properties that are so distressed or with mold or roof caving ins, there's not a lot of opportunities and it does take a lot of work, and maybe the rewards are not there for so much risk. Well, I'm here to basically change the narratives. We actually do collaborate with a lot of agents, either if we're working with buyers or if we're working with our sellers. We are willing and able and capable to buy as many properties that are distressed, that if you have a seller, hey, I'm looking for a cash buyer, I'm not planning to list this property on the market, I'm looking for a cash sale because I'm facing a foreclosure, I'm facing a divorce or a situation, and you know what, I just want a quick closing, I want to do it painlessly, and we do that. We have the network of investors that are looking for this type of opportunities. And then for those agents that do represent buyers, I mean, we have 15, 20 different investment opportunities on a consistently basis. So we're basically doing the groundwork for these agents. I'm already bringing to you a property that's already under contract, it's already analyzed, and I'm bringing it to you on a consistent basis. So you don't have to worry about sending your offers and driving your buyers and negotiating these offers. Again, 80% of them, no one has ever seen it. They're off market. So basically, for those agents that represent investors, I am bringing a constant flow of properties and opportunities so you can deliver to your buyers. That may be an extra listing a quarter, maybe an extra listing a month. And again, we work with both listing agents, buyers agents. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for us to collaborate.
I love that. Talia, you have anything you want to chime in on?
No, I mean, I've brought properties to you guys before, and I love how you guys work. You're very diligent and thorough. And I've even received, because I do work with investors as well, I've even received, you know, the off-market properties that you guys have as well. And you know, I just love the work that you guys do because of the fact that how thorough it is. I like when it's like break it down into details, because a lot of times if, you know, like a new real estate agent, maybe it's their first time, their first investor that they're working with, you know, maybe they might not know what they're looking for, right? Or maybe that, you know, the detail, they're not too sure what to ask, right? So what the package that you guys send out to the real estate agent, it breaks it all down. I mean, you guys have comparables, you have, you know, what maybe the cost might be to, you know, bring it back up to, you know, up to par, right? So you guys break it all down. I think that's what I love most about it. So I don't know if you want to kind of touch into that a little bit as far as like how thorough you guys are with the packaging.
Absolutely. And one disclosure that I should make too, by the way, by collaborating together, by no means we can steal your clients, or because we don't do representations, right? We're not going to list the property on the MLS. We don't take the listing, and we don't represent your buyers if they're investors. On the opposite side, we're going to take care of the relationship that we have with our agents, so we can keep doing more and more business and helping more people along the way. As far as our process, I mean, we truly have a system of checks and balances. I have a whole acquisitions team that, I mean, I was just looking at numbers. Just on any given month, we're sending over 150, 200 offers. And these are truly properties that are worth bringing into an investor because there's money to be made. There's an opportunity. So the checks and balances comes in with my acquisitions team is looking at these deals. and they have to do a CMA. They do have to walk these houses, take pictures, look for permits, put a budget of renovations together. And then based on that, we're going to structure a price that an investor can still buy, resell, and make money. Or in the case of a multifamily or a rental property, I mean, we do take into consideration what those expenses will be. What are your taxes, insurances? What is the monthly rate? Like, what is the return on the investment? So we're very thorough in our research, and we put, like you said, we put all this together into what we call our project analysis packet. So it's pretty easy to present it to your investors as an agent. And I mean, it's all broken down for you. So this is just not an analysis that my team does. So once they do it, they do have to bring it to me. I have to look it over. So there's multiple sets of eyes that are looking at these packets, and I'm like, okay, this property makes sense. Let's make it available to our network of investors or agents.
Okay. So for those that are just joined us in a couple of minutes, and since we've been having this conversation, paint us a little picture, because you said something very important, and I think that's what everybody needs to kind of listen to and be aware of. You said agents can be getting one more deal, a month, a quarter, from the other side of what you do. Right? So you're in the world of the marketplace and doing what you do through your company, New Western. But from our side, if you were on our side, how would you be working strategically with New Western? Just so everybody gets like a really clear, concise idea of what they can do and how they can do it.
Got it. Yeah, so this is a great time to work with investors, because if you think about it, an investor, they can do if you bring them a good deal, they're going to buy it, they're going to fix it up, and they're going to resell it, hopefully within a 60 to 90 day period maximum. That's usually the average turnaround on a property. But once they, once they renovate these properties and, they make money and you have your listings and now we're closing and now we're done, they just don't retire it and move on and change industries. No, these people take this money and reinvest it into one other property, and then another one again, and then another one again. So if you have just one investor that is able to buy one single property every 90 days, that's an extra 4 listings that you can have in a year, right? So if you just think about that way, you could have just helped that investor find more properties, create more wealth, and help the community, which there's plenty of properties that are still sitting vacant, that are still collecting mold, that are still distressed, that do take your clients to basically fix it up and create the much needed supply that we need in the marketplace.
That's so cool. So let me ask you the $1 million question, right? So you got your real estate license and you decided to get into real estate. Why did you choose to get into the wholesaling space, right? Through New Western and creating a marketplace that is different, instead of just getting into the residential side?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So to backtrack to right before COVID and started with New Western and deciding to do investing, I was buying motorcycles. I was buying motorcycles with a credit card, 0% financing for 12 months. And immediately after buying them, I knew the market value. And immediately after buying them, I'll post them out for sale. I will get to ride around in my nice motorcycles that I liked. 2 months, somebody will call me and buy it. And I was making $1,000, $1,500 every now and then. And one day I was thinking, well, if I can do this with a house, right? Maybe I make 20,000, 30, 50, 100. So then the whole idea of being an investor, basically stuck to me. And looking at people that are very wealthy, the common denominator is that they own or they sell or they trade real estate in some way, shape, or form. So I came to this country to build financial independence, freedom, and real estate allows you to do that. So that's when I then came across New Western. And in contrast to the retail side of real estate, again, I was working for a company that was going to give me the equipment and the training and the resources to not only help investors, but to become an investor myself along the way, because it's inevitable. You hang out with 5 million, with 4 millionaires, you'll be the fifth one, right? So I just wanted to put myself in the place where I was learning how to become a better investor myself and help people along the way. So that's why I chose this route.
I knew there was a reason I liked you. I knew there was a reason I liked you as a person. And the funny thing is that we meet so many people, but it's only through these levels of conversations that we really get to build that relationship, right? And learn more about what's really on the inside of your mind, what's really in the, behind the facade, right? People see us, but they may not really know us. So I really like that you have that mindset. Before Dalia asks you another question, because I know she's going to ask you another deep dive question that's going to make us all, think a little bit. So get ready. Who did you learn this entrepreneurial spirit from? Because after doing what I do for as long as I've been doing it, right after, and just like you, I'm an immigrant into this country, first generation immigrant. I remember not speaking English as well. I came at 1.5 years old. So for me, it's a miracle that I speak Spanish, because normally people that come to the US at that age, they don't know Spanish eventually, because you just Americanize 100%, right? But I identify with you in your entrepreneurial spirit. You said if you hang around with 4 millionaires, you become number 5. But if you hang around with 4 broke people, you become number 5 broke person too, right? Where did you get this entrepreneurial spirit from? Who did you see? Because even in Cuba, you had to have seen somebody, right? You saw somebody have that mindset. You saw somebody inspire you, motivate you. You saw somebody maybe program you this way, and then you just continued down that path. Where did you get this from?
Yeah, so dating back to, I was a teenager still in Cuba, and like growing up, it's a third world country, and you just have to become kind of you have to be very creative to thrive and survive, and just on day-to-day basis. So just having that creativity and just having that kindness and humbleness of like, we may not have everything we need, but we make the best of what we have. And you have to be creative and think of opportunities on how we're going to bring the bread into the house every day. And somebody that I looked up to, it's obviously my parents, my mother and my dad, both being divorced, very different walks of life. And looking at my dad, we never were like a wealthy family in Cuba by no means, but at least my parents provided me a more than average lifestyle in Cuba. But I knew it took a lot of work. Like I would see my dad, he was a bus driver, and he would, rent his bus to take trips to the beach and charge per seat. And if somebody needed to, he was always very business driven. And to the point, actually my first business, I was fortunate enough to have a PlayStation 1 in my back in Cuba, where most people didn't. But I'm like, well, I don't want to ask my parents for money to buy my games, so I'm just going to rent out my PlayStation per hour, because most people didn't have access to it. So I just started renting per hour my PlayStation, and people will come to my house, and the whole day I have people in my house. So That's where my entrepreneurial journey started. And then coming into the United States, again, I came with my mother and my little brother. Again, speaking no English. My mother is a single mother by herself, and 2 younger children at this point. We struggled a lot, and just knowing that I knew there was more, and I knew that as long as this is a country that does allow you to build out your dreams and to have a vision. It's not like Cuba. In Cuba, like it doesn't matter how big you can think and who you want to be, it's very limited. And coming into this country and just seeing as much opportunities as there are, I just decided to, again, buckle down and put the work in.
Oh my God. Listen, that was a mic drop moment. That was a mic drop moment, because let me tell you something that my mentor would always tell me. My mentor was, when he started telling me this, he was about 75 years old. He was Sicilian. And he would say, you know what I like about your people? He would say, your people, like Hispanics. He goes, your people come to this country and the streets are paved with gold. Us Americans, we're so spoiled and we're so entitled that the streets are dirty. And listening to your story, I say, I don't know Cuba. I want to go one day, but even if I visited Cuba, I will never know the Cuba that you knew because we already know how that works. But the fact that you decided, Milton, you decided to take every opposition that surrounded you and turn it into motivation. And after training over 5,500 agents in my, coaching and training and mentorship career, I can tell you that most people take their circumstances and build a whole bunch of excuses why they cannot. Why they cannot, why I won't, why I'm not able, what happened to me, what I lived, my parents, my sisters, my cousins, my friends, da 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 da. They come up with all these stories. You took your reality and you changed the narrative. You said, because I didn't have, because I'm in a third world country, because I saw my dad struggle, because I knew America is the land of opportunity. We're not perfect, but we are the best country on the planet. I believe that as a Colombian immigrant. I'm sure you believe that as a Cuban immigrant. And I admire that. So let's go a little bit deeper. And I want Talia to ask you a question, and then I'm going to ask you one more because you just totally blew it up. You have no idea. What you said is it's so worth listening to more than once because I see it every day in real estate. People take their reality and turn it into a bunch of stories just to find the excuses why they're not doing what they know they can do. And here you are at 11 years old. How old were you when you rented out your PlayStation? I can't believe you did that.
I was maybe 13, probably just about 13.
Wow.
13 years old. Yeah, I don't want to ask my parents for money. I mean, they already struggled enough to just make means end. I can just be another load. I mean, after all, I'm playing the whole day and the electricity's on them. So I wanted to find a way to contribute.
I love that. That is so powerful. That is your superpower right there. Oh my gosh. Dali, what do you think?
I got goosebumps hearing you talk for real, because that's really incredible. Like you found a way, and I just kudos to you. Like, I love that. Well, one of my questions, right? Because Agents in the Trenches is a raw discussion, is a real discussion, right? So let's pull back the curtains a little bit, Milton. And I would love to ask you, what mistakes have you made in your real estate career so far, and what have you learned from them?
Well, first and foremost, I love agent in the trenches. That's actually a common expression that I use with my team, because it's easy sometimes to, now I'm the manager or the broker. Now I just, sit back. No, I'm in the trenches. I'm in the business. I am doing business with them alongside. So, but mistakes that I've made, too many to count, to be honest. And truly is by, not being afraid to make mistakes is how you grow and how you elevate. No one just knows by sitting down and just taking a course and then just completely forgetting about it. You won't get it perfect the first time, right? So it does take making mistakes, especially on the learning curve aspect of just starting or trying something new. You have to be willing to fail forward. I think I've heard Lucy say this many times. You have to fail forward because, you make a mistake and that's how you learn. That's how you perfect your craft. And insanity is making the same mistake and expecting different results, right? Doing the same thing. So, all right, you made a mistake. Well, what did it go wrong? So then you kind of tweak things and change things and make adjustments and grow from it. But you have to be willing to make mistakes. And I think your question maybe was address something specific, but I mean, my mistake today was not wearing a jacket. I'm very cold. But yeah, many mistakes alone in my career.
No, I love that because, I speak to a lot of newer agents, and what I notice and realize is that many of them are afraid to make mistakes, right? They're so new and they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to, I don't want to mess up, or, they need a little bit of hand holding, right? So talk to that agent that is, new in the industry and is maybe like tiptoeing around certain things, but they know that has to get done. So just what would you say to that agent?
Well, perfect mistake that I can now relevantly think and talk to that agent that hopefully is listening to the stories. I mean, as I train agents, I also go back into my own experience. When I first started, I was also new at some point, right? I was an overanalyzer. I needed all of the answers. I needed all of the questions. I needed to know all of the information. And next thing you know, I looked to the side and there were people who in my mind, I'm like, they're not as qualified as I am. They don't know as much as I do. They don't have, and they were just doing it. They were just doing it. They were just failing forward and going along, and they were, slowly but surely succeeding even faster than I was, just sitting back and waiting to have all of the information and all of the answers. And then I realized that was my mistake number one. And my suggestion to people out there, don't wait to know it all. Don't wait to have all of the answers, because you probably never will. But as if you're willing to move forward, if you're willing to go figure it out, if you're willing to, again, just work through those adversities, mistakes are part of the process. So
Very well said.
new agents, yeah, don't wait. Just do it. Just do it.
Let's do it.
I always teach, and I always say, done is better than perfect. Just listen. You know how many things I do that I've never done before, and I have no path to follow. I have no framework. I don't even have somebody to tell me how to do it. But I just have a vision, and I know what I want the outcome to be, right? And I just put all my energy in premeditating the outcome, envisioning the destination, and then I just start putting one foot in front of the other. Now, I want to ask you, what do you tell agents that are suffering from an illness that I always call excusitis? What do you tell the agents that are suffering from the illness of excusitis? It's cold, it's hot, my head hurts, my feet hurt, my toe hurts, my head hurts,
I mean, the reality is that it is a very bad illness, and it's very contagious. And then it eats you up alive and until you die, right? It doesn't just go away, right? So you can make excuses, or you can make results. You can create action, right? I talk to people and, oh my God, the rates are high. Oh my God, the buyer doesn't want to buy. Oh, like the industry is tough. Or like, I just don't have all the money, and I just lack resources. Listen, excuses never made anyone successful. Excuses will never get you truly to that life you envision for yourself. So it's about taking accountability and taking responsibility that if it's going to be, it's up to me. And if you're making excuses, I mean, again, there's someone that is taking your same excuses and turning them into opportunities, or it is an opportunity to grow. Maybe that's what you should begin to start better, working on your mindset and working on like, well, the market is tough. Well, if the market is tough, how will I become tougher? How do I navigate through it? How do I connect with the people that are still thriving? There are always people thriving, despite the many excuses that we may have. And honestly, your client don't want to deal with your excuses. They want someone to help them. And if you create excuses to help people, how are you helping people?
Wow.
Get out there.
I love what you just said. I wanna reiterate it. You said there's somebody out there taking your excuse and turning it into success.
Right. But there's just someone listening to your excuses and they're just laughing inside. They just won't tell you. But I'm
Right.
like, come on, like we can do that. That's something that you can control. Your excuses, the market may be out of your control, but your excuse about the market is not. So turn it into an opportunity and thrive forward.
I absolutely love this. I knew this was going to be an exceptional interview, and I'm so happy that you said yes. I can feel your leadership, and I think your company is extremely fortunate to have such a powerhouse leader like yourself. And I'm just happy that we've become friends and colleagues in the industry, and that we're going to continue to do great things together. Because you know what, Milton, Southwest Florida needs more leaders like yourself. I've been here in real estate for 23 years, and there's a need right now. I had a conversation this week with a local broker that reached out to me, and this broker said, our area needs more role models because there is a new generation of agents that are coming into the market. And who are they going to follow? How are they going to become the people that we became? Because I had my mentor, and we started looking back, and I said, yeah, there was a generation of people like my mentor who, in 2020, he passed away at 82 years old, but he had been doing real estate for almost 50 years, 45 of those years right here in Southwest Florida. He was actually the owner of the very first Century 21 in Lee County in 1981, So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to hear your leadership and what, you are doing. Any closing remarks?
Well, again, I just want to thank you, ladies, again for having me over. For those agents listening, I mean, another thing that I would like to close with is you just gotta say yes to it. I was afraid. Sometimes I pulled back even when I was presented with the opportunity to speak. And I'm like, well, I've never done this. I'm very bad in camera, but you have to be able to say yes and overcommit, and then figure it out. Say yes to life, like just put yourself through it. Look, it's been amazing, and I hope that out of the hour that maybe we've been together by now, on this session, I hope that someone can take action. Don't just watch this and then move on about your day. Like, at least take something that you think is relevant and work on it and act on it and say yes to it, because that's really what it takes.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. This is Agents in the Trenches. I told you, the real, the raw, the reality, the organic, the authentic, the stories, the success, the struggles, the challenges, everything. So, Milton, thank you so much. I know there's people that are going to be watching this. I've been sharing this on all my groups and everywhere else, and I just applaud you for being, one of those Latinos that are showing the world, all things are possible if we're willing to take responsibility. You said you have to take responsibility. And I'm just happy that we're friends now and that we're getting to know each other better. And I know we're going to do great things.
I agree too. I feel it in my heart. And like I said, that's what we're here for. At the end of the day, we have to share with the community. We have to share our resources. We have to help each other out. No one ever just made it, this self-made concept of people. No one just thrives and is successful by themselves. You need a community. You need to associate you with people that can support you, that have your back, that can share resources. If you need something, I got you. And I know if I need something, you can, help me back. And let's do this for each other. At the end of the day, we're in this together, and the only way to get far is by going together. So I'm happy to help and very, very glad to be here with you, ladies. And I look forward to the future of the relationship that we have recently just started. And I say recently, but it's been nearly probably half a year by now.
Yes, it's been a little bit over 6 months. So that was a double mic drop that you just did. So double mic drop to you, Milton. Thank you so much. We appreciate you greatly, and I commend you for everything that you've done. And I can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in 2024 and what we're going to be doing together. So thank you.
Yes, I want to say something really quickly because I think this would be a perfect opportunity. You mentioned community, right? And then you also mentioned being surrounded by, winners and being, a winner yourself, right? By being surrounded by them. So I want to mention January 24th, we are creating a space for if you want to be a winner, that you have to be here for Vision Builders 2024. Okay, this is going to be incredible. And if you want to hear more from Milton, he's going to be there as well. So, we're going to be dropping the details really soon. So look out for that. It's January 24th, Vision Builder. So you want to be there and be surrounded by people like Milton, to hear his story, to hear what, more of his story, because you heard a little bit, but I'm sure there's more that he can share. And this is going to be an opportunity to hear more about that. So you don't want to miss it. January 24th, save the date.
Get ready, Milton. You're going to take that stage and crush it.
Yes.
Woo! We can't wait. We can't wait. All right, guys. Have an
Thank you
amazing
so much for watching. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you.